Welcome to our Wellness Hub, where I have been interviewing experts in the field of health, wellness, and mindset for years. My name is Monisi, and I would like to introduce you to a very special guest today. Her name is Shannon Coulter. She's the creator of the Planet Fassa and a coach who helps adults break the chain of tech overuse. Shannon, thank you for being here with us today. Tell us a bit about yourself and what are you doing to help parents and their children stop tech overuse. The floor is yours.
Hi, Monici. Thank you so much for having me today to talk about this very important topic. As you said, I am Shannon Coulter. I have been on this journey for 17 years. So basically, I came out of corporate America back in, I want to say 2008, 2009. At that time, I was doing communication consulting. I was an HR consulting, communication consulting, and I would do anything from telling people how to sign up for their benefits to wellness programs. And wellness programs was what I was doing toward the end. And I really found joy in that because I was helping people change their lives for the better, be it like starting to work out or quit smoking. It was awesome. So I could see that people could change. So at that time, I met three little beautiful people that were 4, 8, and 10, who are now my stepchildren that are 22, 27, 26 to 27. Anyway, I met them at that time, and I had come out, probably like many of the women listening to this podcast, I had come out of a childhood full of play. And it's some of my fondest memories were being outside playing with my friends. And so I meet these three little kids and I think I'm being cool. And I said to them, hey, you guys go out and play. And they came back in, no joke, 5 minutes later and did not know what to do. And it truly, I will never forget that day. It truly freaked me out. I just was floored. I didn't know back then what I do now, but even though I didn't know the nature of what was happening to them, I knew something was wrong because I just couldn't imagine not knowing how to play as a kid. And it made me extremely sad. So long story, extremely short, I left corporate America and my husband and I, at the time, we created the Planet Fassa. And Fassa means fun activities, stories, service, and awards. And so when you go into the Planet Fassa, that's where you're going. And it's named after my cat at the time, Mufasa. But I couldn't call him that because of Disney. So I changed it to Planet Fassa. I wanted to create something to help parents like myself at the time be able to give their kids offline activities, but not have to search for hours to get them and not compare yourself to the beautiful, perfect people on like Pinterest and Instagram. So we created a website back then and a bunch of books. And the idea was to give kids a wellness program. So they would do the activities that their parents would suggest to them for mind, heart, and body points, and they could cash them in for rewards. And that's what I was doing in corporate America. So I was like, oh, this is going to work for kids. And it was great. Why I'm stopped it back then and picked it back up now, for all you entrepreneurs out there. We created a website right when apps came out, and there's a long story behind it, but we shut the business down, I think in 2012. But what I can say to all of you is I did this method on my children, and now I have 3 really healthy adults who have an imagination. So that's the background behind this. I picked it back up in 2020. I never stopped dreaming about doing this. I never could get it out of my head, but I saw the thing I feared happening in 2020. Everything I was worried about was happening. There's now science behind it. So I picked up the books I had written back then. I rewrote them. And I am now, right now, in the second iteration of a new app that's coming out that is the dream that we had back then, but now 17 years later, understanding more of the science and making it easier for parents. So that's where I am right now.
And so you had already a creative mindset, thanks to your childhood too, probably, and the play that you did when you were younger. So you noticed that creativity, not only in your stepchildren, but around you in the world, was decreasing, and most likely due to the fact of the phone, of online gaming, and just being isolated in front of this computer at home and not going out. So you also published books, right?
Yes. Yes.
And are they for parents or for children? Or
I would say they're for parents and children. So what they are, so the Planet Fassa, my characters are my cats and dogs. It's funny because we were talking about cats earlier that I have loved throughout my life and have adopted. So I wrote these books, and the idea behind the books is I wanted to give parents, and I still want to give parents, a whole thing that they can do for a day, a month, a week with their kids based on something that I'm guiding them through. And then once they start learning how to do this, they can grab the app and continue to do it. But what the books are is I tell a story that has what I would consider a value in it, like persistence pays off. Don't judge a dog by his bark, things like that. And we tell the story and it's cute, it's animals, they're having fun, they're using, their imagination out in venture. And then I tell something like that, like persistence pays off. And then the book goes on for a really long time after that. I give two plot twists so the child can see the character making a bad choice and the consequences that they're not going to get to the happy ending that they read about. So we teach more lessons. Then there's 5 activities where we have people learn in different ways. So some people do learn reading, other people have to speak, other people have to move. So we do all those different kind of things. And it's fun stuff like a 5 senses scavenger hunt. You're just going and you're learning. But at the end of every activity, this is my favorite part, there is a things to talk about. So we give prompts that you ask your kids. And I thought that was wonderful because it's not the how was school today? Fine. What did you do? Nothing. But, and then also, although I gave the value, you're actually telling your kids what your idea on that value is. So it's coming from you. And that is something that's really getting missed with technology, especially today, because your kids are online and they're learning from people who are famous just because they're famous. They're not famous because they're excellent. They're famous because they've done something sometimes very stupid. And I want your kids to learn values from you. I want them to talk to you. So that's in there. And then I use big words. So I have a quiz in there. I've got word searches, coloring pages, hinted pictures. I just wanted to give this huge thing that you have a lot to do with your kids. So that's the ideas of the books. And I wrote 7 different characters. So they tried to get characters that all of us could, part of us, like there's a scientific character, there's a jock. So you could find yourself in one of the characters. So when you go on our app, that's for parents, it's called the Fassa Nuggets of Fun app. You get to pick which avatar you want to be. So if you're the jock, you pick Tubby. That's just there for fun. But then when the kids start getting points, they just see that little character. It's not pulling them on. I just thought it would be fun, for them to have it. So that's the idea behind my books.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what is the target market? I mean, we're talking about parents of children of what ages?
Yes. So I say the sweet spot is 6 to 8, but I did run these through focus groups and sent them to schools. So there's 4-year-olds who will sit and listen to them, and there's 12-year-olds who love them. So you know your own kid and what they're interested in. I think it'd be awesome for 12-year-olds to use as babysitting devices. So they could bring it, be like, we're going to do this while I'm here. So that's the idea behind them. What I'm really trying to do, Monici, is I found myself in this thing, and competing with technology is very hard because the science behind it they built them to be addictive. They are addicting us. They're addicting our children. So to compete with something that's addicting is very difficult. So all the tools that I'm bringing are to give kids something different to do. Because if you've ever given up a bad habit, you have to replace it with something good. And then by God's grace, that good habit becomes something you love so much that you leave the bad habit. But that's the idea behind all my tools, because that's what I needed back, when I had these little kids. I needed help. So I wanted to create that to give it to people. And I believe, and I saw it with my kids, the more of these activities you give them, that imagination muscle that had atrophied, it will start building and you won't need to do that so much.
It's wonderful. And so you combine also physical activities outside the house, like they have to do it.
Yes.
It's part of the activity, correct?
Yeah, I worked with elementary school teachers to make a lot of these activities. And so, as I was saying, we all learn in different ways. So yeah, we have ones where they're drawing, we have ones where they're running around, jumping, all sorts of different things. Ones that are very heart-centered, because as I said, like a full body person, a healthy person is heart, mind, and body. So we came at it with all different ones. And my favorite part of the app, so if you go to the app, you can go in, and all it is like you come home, you've got 3 kids, you want to make dinner, but they're bothering you, right? But you don't want to put them on screen. So you say, I need a half hour. I've got 3 kids. They're not being nice to each other. So you hit heart activities and it gives you 20 ideas. And you say to the kids, hey, here's an activity I want you to do. You'll get 200 FASA points. And when you earn those, you'll get X. And so we have suggested rewards in there, but you can also put them in. If you have a kid who like weirdly, I don't know, likes to eat cookies after dinner, you're going to give it to them anyway, but now you're making them earn FASA points for that reward. So you're incentivizing them through play, which I think is excellent. And your kids want to play. They do want to play. Their brains have just been taken over by these screens. And there's science behind it. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I wish my kids were younger and I could give them your books again. So you're helping so many families and so many parents that really don't know what to do sometimes.
Right.
And
It's very difficult. Yeah.
yeah, it's quite difficult. How many books how many in
So
total?
there are 7 total. 4 right now are available on Amazon. And the fun thing about them, if you get all 7, I end every story with a cliffhanger. So if you get all 7, it's like reading a chapter book. So that's what I did. But the reason I cut them into 7 is because with each book, with each chapter, there's all these activities. So they're 80 to 90 pages each, full of things, because I wanted to give people the thing I needed. So they're on Amazon and they're called the Fassa Tales, but it's Tails because I was just being silly.
A little bit of wit doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't hurt. And, you're starting a new program, correct? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so when I started coming back out with this toward mid 2025, I was like, okay, we've got to do this. I started going on podcasts, and as I was speaking to people and just going around speaking, a lot of people asked me what I was going to do for adults. And it really struck me because it's true. If we are not looking up from our phones, how are we going to expect our kids to? If we don't know how addicting it is to us, we're not going to be as concerned for our kids as we need to be. And so I started a course. The first pilot is in September, and there's a second in November, and it's called Break the Chain. And then the tagline is, Dear Phone, it's not me, it's you. And the reason I'm doing it, it is not to guilt trip anybody. It is not a detox. It is not tech free. This is all tech light. Tech is here to stay. Tech is why Moni C and I met. There's wonderful things about tech, but we have to treat it like dessert. It's got to be just something we do, not everything we do. But what I do in the class is I educate people behind the science of how our brains are connecting with these phones and how these phones were truly developed to addict us. They use the same book that big tobacco used and use that same thing with these phones once you learn about it. And I think you need to know about it so you can protect yourself and your kids. So I educate you with that, and then I equip you with ideas of what you can do with your phone. I'm having my daughter, who's brilliant at this stuff, make tutorials. Be like, if I tell you to put it on sleep mode, I don't know how to do it. There's a tutorial right there. Go look how to do it. If I tell you how to do not disturb, and you're like, well, I'm scared I might miss a call. Well, there's a way you can do breakthrough calls. So I'm giving you this equipment. I'm telling you about the algorithm. I'm going to show you how to do stuff in YouTube to get it to stop chasing you. And then I'm going to empower you with weekly challenges, super simple things, but that are going to change your life. And my goal is to give you an hour of uninterrupted time a day without this thing buzzing at you to do something you want to do. If you haven't played, you have a guitar sitting next to you. If you're not reading, give yourself an hour a day uninterrupted and see how it starts changing your life. So that's the goal. I want to give people that dream power hour back. And as they're doing it and as they're feeling like their soul reconnecting with the world around them, they're going to see how wonderful it is. And I know this show is for women, and we really, as I've been coming back into this as an entrepreneur, we as women want to connect with people. We want to connect with the people we're leading. We want to connect with our spouses, our boyfriends, our kids, our parents. These phones are blocking us. There's a new thing called technoference. They're literally blocking us from each other. And we have to take back control. And I know we can, but I really do think it's the education, because the more I learn to teach this course, the more I'm going, oh gosh, no, I am not going to be manipulated by these people, by this thing. And it's a beautiful thing to get your focus, your time, and your energy back. It just is.
Yeah, it's everything you say should be shared with everyone right now on the planet, because it's the truth, and it's taking over our lives many times, and we have to find a way to control it. And how long is this program? How many
Yes,
weeks?
it's a 4-week long program. It is one live class a week, but you don't have to make the live class. But it's one class a week where I do the education, we do reflection, and then I send you off for the week with a challenge. And then we meet back up and we do something else. So it's 4 weeks long right now. It's a pilot course. So if you want to go and be a part of it, I would love to have you, because you'll be teaching me as I'm teaching you, and we'll be doing it together. I have just the same problems as everybody else. It's called Break the Chain, and it's at sscoulter.com. And so I have one starting in September and one in November, and we're going to do this together. I'm excited. We can lock arms and break the chain together for ourselves and our company. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the audience is going to have all this information below under our interview. So, and what is the best way to contact you? Through the website, or you have an email?
Yeah, the website, there's a contact me, but also please feel free to reach out to me directly at sscoulter7@gmail.com.
Well, Shannon, our time is up. It just flew by. I want to thank you so much for coming here and sharing your passion and your purpose. You're really making a difference, like everyone else in this channel. We hope to see you again to find out your progress. And until then, thank you very much, and goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. That was great.